your Soulful Progressive with FNN-Feminist News Network, that Feminist News. That's right for you. Welcome to Skye in the Ava Pui room, giving you that soulful news you need, yes indeed. And if you haven't told a friend to like or subscribe and get that soulful news that soulful way, baby, you better do it today. I know that's right, staying in while on location, friend. So what is it I want to talk to you about today? What is going on? There's a lot going on. The Supreme Court has voted unanimously to uphold discrimination in regards to media and the monopoly of Comcast. That's right. We know Ruth Bader Ginsburg has always been about the monopolies and where she will fight for women. A lot of them must not have been black, because she is allowing the monopoly to happen. Now we're going to take a listen at Democracy Now! And let Mark Stroller talk, and then we're really going to talk about it, because 50 Cent, P. Diddy, and a lot of people are involved in this, especially the Weather Channel owner, Brian. We know him as the comedian, Brian Allen. Let him talk, and then we'll discuss.
Like most of the country, the Supreme Court is in coronavirus lockdown, has postponed oral arguments until some future date. But they did manage to hand down 5 opinions on Monday, including in the case of Comcast versus the National Association of African American Media. And the decision was a blow for the civil rights community. American Prospect headlined "Remote Control." A civil rights lawsuit highlights how Comcast's monopoly crushes media diversity.
This story before the pandemic emerged, it's a story of how monopoly, the debate over monopoly power, which has really exploded the last few years, hits the black community and particularly black business people. And the one area where you have a bunch of wealthy black business people who can finance and create businesses and have a network together is largely in the entertainment space, because that was sort of one of the first places. Media and entertainment in the 70s and 80s were one of the first places where black entrepreneurs were able to compete on a level playing field. And what this story is about is it's about a series of black entertainment moguls who started media networks, and these are television shows. These are people like Sean Diddy Combs, 50 Cent, Magic Johnson, people right. And how, as a condition of Comcast NBC purchase 10 years ago under the Obama administration, Comcast had to promise to let them carry their station to their customers. So Comcast is around 20 million households that subscribe to pay TV services, and they said, okay, we're going to carry black-owned and Latino-owned media channels, and then they didn't. And so a lot of these, all of these media moguls either shut down their TV stations or are angry and are speaking out. And it's really the first conflict between monopoly power where it's more of it's kind of a civil rights issue as well, because the people involved are black or Latino. Now, the ringleader of this is a guy named Byron Allen. He has essentially been suing both Comcast and Charter for tens of billions of dollars under a very old, actually the country's oldest civil rights law, which is the Civil Rights Act of 1866. And he's saying, hey, you are not contracting with me on equal terms. And the Civil Rights Act of 1866 says that black people and white people get to be contracted on equal terms. It was a Civil Rights Act just after the Civil War. And Comcast, aided by the Trump administration, said, you know what? We don't actually think that you have provided the burden of proof that you need. So a lot of civil rights statutes say that if you can prove that race was one factor into the decision, then there's a violation of the rule. But what Comcast and then also the Trump administration said is that no, actually, you have to prove that the only reason that you didn't get this contract is because you're black, what's called a but-for standard. So but for the fact that you are black, you would have, the outcome would have been different. And that is a much higher burden to meet. But it was this really interesting moment where you had a bunch of black entrepreneurs and who are reasonably well capitalized, trying to actually build businesses, right, in a more socially equal nation than it was in the 1960s or 50s, and still being blocked by monopoly. And so what I find really fascinating about the story is, as you've seen a kind of anti-monopoly movement emerge, one of the really notable gaps in that movement is that you don't have a lot of black business people or Latino business people saying, this is a real problem. And there are a lot of reasons for that. But one of the reasons is that there's just the main one is that there's no capital in those communities. So white communities have access to capital and banks, they have money, whereas black business people just don't. And now in the one area where they actually do, which is in entertainment, you're seeing them run up against monopoly.
All right, so you heard that. It is ugly out there. Trump's Supreme Court has my Sotomayor voting against the African Americans that have earned their way to the top, that should be on an even playing field, but has to compete against people that have donated to Trump, like Comcast, that want to kick out stations like Stars, that has shows from 50 cents. And you know, on some of these cable channels that aren't offering a lot, they have all these different other kind of stations, from country to Hispanic, and just, too much Martin, because there's not enough of diversity. Now, I'm going to say real quick that I've seen diversity on Spectrum. Now, this is because I've been staying in, and I'm out of town, so I got a house with cable. Without that, I would be on the internet and watching Netflix at home. That's how I roll. But it is ugly out there. Yeah. And for them to, you're dealing with a pandemic, and all the while people are not noticing the Supreme Court is being racist and not saying there is no discrimination with Comcast disallowing black-owned channels and shows to be aired on their company, which is reaching out to millions of people and not giving it an even playing field for all different types of ethnic groups that make the melting pot, which is America. And if you agree with that, leave your comments below and let me know at FeministNewsN@gmail.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and the Facebook page. And remember, I'm that Soulful Progress 1 on Twitter, and got that rant of the day on Blogger. And I'm not using PayPal no more, so email me and I'll send you my P.O. box. Alright, that's right. And if you like, I can always send you a postcard from Hawaii. When I get back. So, in this Arab hate, you gotta participate, because, honey, if you don't, that Supreme Court is gonna turn into a racist and full of hate. Like it ain't doing it already. That's what I'm talking about. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. Peace.